Have you ever received a call claiming Medicare-approved breakthrough diabetes technology that could eliminate finger pricks forever? Betty Anderson, a 74-year-old retired librarian from Tampa, Florida, who had been managing type 2 diabetes for 8 years, thought she was getting life-changing glucose monitoring when medical device salespeople called about revolutionary continuous monitoring systems. Within 2 weeks, she had paid $12,000 for fake diabetes equipment that gave dangerously inaccurate readings. Betty's story reveals how medical scammers target seniors with chronic conditions like diabetes, using their desire for easier management and fear of complications as manipulation tools. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these diabetes device fraudsters operate and learn the warning signs that could protect diabetic seniors and their families. Stay until the end, because Betty's experience shows how fake medical devices can endanger diabetic patients while stealing money, making these scams uniquely dangerous among healthcare frauds. The Glucose Freedom Call. It was a Thursday afternoon in May when Betty's phone rang with a call that would promise freedom from daily finger pricks while endangering her diabetes management. She had just finished checking her blood sugar when her caller ID showed what appeared to be a medical technology company number. "Mrs. Anderson, this is Michael Davis from Advanced Diabetes Technologies. I'm calling because Medicare has approved revolutionary continuous glucose monitoring that could eliminate your need for fingerstick testing forever." Betty's interest peaked immediately. After 8 years of multiple daily blood sugar checks, the prospect of painless glucose monitoring was incredibly appealing. Michael continued with impressive medical authority and diabetes terminology. "We've developed breakthrough sensor technology specifically for type 2 diabetics in your management stage. This wireless monitoring system provides 24-hour glucose readings with smartphone alerts, completely replacing traditional fingerstick meters." Michael explained that Betty's name had come from Medicare's diabetes management database of patients who qualified for this innovative monitoring technology. He spoke with authority about diabetes care and seemed to understand the daily challenges. The system involves painless sensor patches that read glucose through your skin every 5 minutes. Many type 2 diabetics have achieved better control and eliminated finger pricks entirely through this approach. Building diabetes hope. Michael continued using impressive diabetes terminology that Betty found both hopeful and believable. She described glucose monitoring and diabetes technology with medical fluency that seemed legitimate. "Your specific diabetes pattern responds particularly well to our continuous sensor protocols. The real-time glucose trends help prevent dangerous spikes and drops that fingerstick testing often misses." He explained that the technology had been developed specifically for patients whose traditional monitoring had become burdensome, but who needed consistent glucose tracking. Betty had indeed felt frustrated with frequent finger pricks and inconsistent readings. Traditional glucose meters only give you snapshots at testing moments. Our continuous monitoring shows glucose patterns throughout the day and night, helping prevent diabetic emergencies before they occur. Michael created appeal by explaining that Betty's educational background meant she would appreciate the detailed data analysis, and that her dedication to diabetes management made her an ideal candidate. The system generates comprehensive glucose reports showing meal impacts, medication effectiveness, and activity correlations. For someone with your analytical background, this data will revolutionize your diabetes control. The insurance coverage promise. Michael explained that Betty's Medicare would fully cover the monitoring system, but the revolutionary technology required upfront payment that would be reimbursed once the device was activated and documented. Because this involves cutting-edge, FDA-approved glucose sensor technology, Medicare requires prepayment to ensure patient commitment to continuous monitoring. Once we activate your system and submit usage reports, Medicare reimburses the full $12,000. He provided Betty with specific Medicare diabetes codes that sounded official. Michael seemed to have detailed knowledge of diabetes insurance procedures and spoke with authority about monitoring coverage. Consider the cost savings of preventing diabetic complications like neuropathy, vision problems, or kidney damage. This monitoring system can prevent those complications through precise glucose control. Traditional meters can't achieve. Michael created urgency by explaining that the manufacturer only allocated limited systems for Medicare patients each month, and Betty needed to secure her device before other diabetics filled the available slots. We only have 2 systems left in this month's Medicare allocation for your area. If you don't secure your monitor today, you'll have to wait until next month, and there's no guarantee units will be available. The payment pressure. Betty felt excited about painless glucose monitoring and feared missing this technological opportunity. Michael had created such convincing hope that questioning the system seemed like accepting continued fingerstick burden. She agreed to purchase the monitoring system. Michael guided her through the payment process, explaining that the diabetes technology required wire transfer to secure her allocation and expedite shipping. Advanced glucose sensor technology requires secure payment processing. To prevent fraud and ensure proper patient allocation, wire transfer is the standard method for high-tech medical devices. At the wire transfer location, Betty hesitated when asked about the payment purpose. Michael, still on the phone, coached her to explain it was for FDA-approved diabetes monitoring equipment, which sounded legitimate. Betty sent $12,000, believing she was investing in revolutionary diabetes management technology. Michael assured her that the device would arrive within 1 week with complete setup instructions. You've made an excellent decision for your diabetes management. This monitoring system will revolutionize how you track and control your blood sugar levels. The dangerous deception. The package arrived as promised, containing what appeared to be professional glucose monitoring equipment with official-looking documentation and FDA approval certificates. The device looked legitimate and came with detailed instructions. Betty began using the system as instructed, applying sensor patches and relying on its glucose readings to make decisions about meals, medication, and activity levels. However, she soon noticed the readings seemed inconsistent with how she felt physically. The device frequently showed normal glucose levels when Betty experienced symptoms of high blood sugar, and sometimes indicated dangerous readings when she felt completely fine. When she compared the device readings to her traditional glucose meter, the results were dramatically different. Betty called the customer service number provided with the device, but it was disconnected. She tried to reach Michael Davis, but his phone number was no longer in service. The medical crisis. Growing concerned about the conflicting readings, Betty took the device to her endocrinologist for evaluation. Her doctor immediately recognized it as a sophisticated fake designed to look like legitimate medical equipment. This isn't a real glucose monitoring device. It's designed to look like legitimate medical equipment, but it's generating random numbers rather than actual blood sugar readings. Betty's doctor explained that relying on fake medical devices for diabetes management could be life-threatening, as incorrect readings could lead to dangerous medication dosing or dietary decisions. The fake device had caused Betty to make several poor diabetes management decisions based on false readings, including eating high-carb meals when the device showed falsely low readings, and taking extra medication when it showed falsely high levels. The health impact beyond losing $12,000. Betty suffered real health consequences from relying on the fake medical device. Her blood sugar control had worsened during the weeks she used the fraudulent device, and her next A1C test showed elevated levels. Betty's endocrinologist had to adjust her medication and monitoring routine to correct the damage caused by poor diabetes management based on false device readings. The psychological impact was significant. Betty, who had successfully managed her diabetes for 8 years, felt her confidence in monitoring her condition had been shaken. The investigation medical device fraud investigators explained that Betty had been targeted by a sophisticated operation that focused on chronic disease patients seeking better management tools. The scammers used detailed diabetes knowledge to create believable scenarios about revolutionary treatments. The investigation revealed that the same group had scammed dozens of diabetes patients using similar fake monitoring device scenarios. They had stolen over $800,000 while potentially endangering lives by providing false glucose readings. Police discovered that the scammers used legitimate-looking medical equipment, fake FDA approvals, and detailed diabetes management knowledge to create scenarios that appealed to patients' desire for better glucose control. Warning signs. Betty missed. Looking back, Betty identified several red flags she wished she had recognized. Unsolicited calls about revolutionary diabetes devices. Legitimate medical equipment companies work through established healthcare providers and don't make cold calls about breakthrough glucose monitoring technology. Immediate payment demands for Medicare-covered equipment. Real medical device companies process orders through established medical supply chains with proper insurance verification procedures. Claims about FDA approval without verification. Legitimate medical devices have verifiable FDA approval numbers that can be confirmed through official government databases. Wire transfer requirements for medical equipment. Established medical supply companies process payments through normal business channels and never require wire transfers for device purchases. The road to recovery. While Betty never recovered her $12,000, her diabetes management returned to normal once she resumed using legitimate monitoring equipment. Her experience led to increased awareness about medical device scams targeting chronic disease patients. Betty learned to verify all medical device offers through her established healthcare providers before making purchases. She realized that legitimate medical advances are introduced through proper medical channels, not unsolicited sales calls. Most importantly, Betty discovered that sharing her experience with other diabetes patients helped prevent additional victims who might have endangered their health by relying on fake medical equipment. Final thoughts. Betty's story demonstrates that diabetes device scams are uniquely dangerous because they can worsen chronic conditions while stealing money. These criminals understand that diabetic patients desperately want easier glucose monitoring and will pay significant amounts for devices that promise improved management. The key lesson from Betty's experience is this: legitimate diabetes devices are never sold through unsolicited phone calls requiring immediate wire transfer payments. Real glucose monitoring advances are introduced through established healthcare providers with proper medical oversight. If you receive calls about revolutionary diabetes devices, hang up and discuss any new monitoring options with your endocrinologist first. Never purchase diabetes equipment based solely on phone sales presentations, regardless of how medically sophisticated they sound. Remember, managing diabetes safely means working with legitimate healthcare providers and verified medical equipment, not paying scammers who exploit health concerns to sell dangerous fake devices. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.